Beware the outlaws, thieves, and droughts as you expand your ranch near Moon River.
Hey gang, thanks for joining us at Tantrum House Studio 3. I'm Will Meadows.
And I'm Sarah, and today we are reviewing the game Moon River, which is the next level in that Kingdomino type tile laying game. And this is a standalone game from Bruno Cathala and Johan Servais, and it is published by Blue Orange.
While it has several similarities to the original Kingdomino, in this new game you'll be building out your Wild West ranch and actually puzzle piece building the domino tiles to do so.
Moon River is for 2 to 4 players and takes about 30 to 45 minutes to play. So let's take a look at some of the differences as well as similarities. So Will, why don't you start with the similarities?
Okay, so in the game Moon River, you will gain tiles by placing your meeple next to the tile you want, which determines the turn order for the next round, and you'll be building out a grid with 6 different terrain types. Like most of the other iterations of the game, at the end of the game you'll multiply all of your touching terrain types by the number of, in this case, cattle, like crowns in the past, in order to determine your final score. And then, like in some of the other variations of Kingdomino, like in Kingdomino Origins, you gain bonus points for certain wooden tokens on your spaces. That's the same in this game, however, in this case, all of the icons are already printed on the tiles, and so you'll score points at the end for things like your gold, your coin, and your beavers. Now, Sarah, there are plenty of differences. Give us a rundown of some of those.
The most obvious new mechanic is that you have spaces on your starting board that will hold your puzzle pieces, and you get to determine when you'd like to place those. So you may not be placing a tile every turn. You can also determine which 2 sections you'd like to put together, so you can save different tiles that or plots of land to put together for later. When you do start, you'll need to place it next to a bridge. In previous games, we've had a castle or some other starting spot. This one, your board will have a couple of different options for where you can start at. And then you'll need to make sure that when you place them, you'll need to pay attention to the different icons on those plots. So some of them will have cows that you'll immediately place out, but you'll need to pay attention because there are drought, which is that skull. So if you place that out, it will actually remove a cow, which is your multiplier for your scoring. So you'll need to pay attention to that. There are also some different players in the game that you will cross paths with called partners. There's a little saloon board off to the side, and all of them will give some different variation abilities in the game. 2 of them are not friendly. So there's the Desperado. That tile allows you, when you place it, to steal or swap a plot with somebody else. So if somebody has taken something that you've wanted in a previous round and they haven't played it yet, you can swap it. There's also the cattle thief. So if an area, a terrain, doesn't have any of the partner tokens on it, those cattle are just free roaming, and so they're up for grabs to snag. So if you get a cattle thief, you can steal a cow from somebody else. And then there's those other ones in the game that will give you additional points for the corn and the gold and the beavers. So that if you don't want to play one of those, or you are worried about where your cows are, you can only have one on each plot of land. You can choose not to play the special ability, and then you can move your cows around on your board, which can offer some interesting different things, because there's a couple of terrain types that have very few cows. So you'll need to pay attention to that.
Stack them all up, get lots of in-game bonuses. One of the other things that's new that this game introduces is a little bit of a different 2-player variant. In this case, for a 2-player game, you'll actually play a 5x10 grid. So it's like twice as big as what you're used to playing in the past, which is interesting. It's easier to score really high points that way at the end of the game, which is pretty satisfying. And it doubles the length, of course, of your gameplay because you're playing so many additional tiles. But other than that, a lot of similarities going on between the two. It feels familiar and you kind of immediately know, if you've got experience playing the other ones, you kind of know, like, oh, okay, this is going to be a route to victory by getting these types of tiles and being able to puzzle piece them together. It's actually pretty enjoyable. I found that very satisfying for sure.
Same. You can't just count out. I mean, I've played enough Kingdomino, the base game, that it's almost like, okay, I know exactly which tiles I need to get in the game, and paying attention to turn order and all of that. This one, your strategy changes based on, what other players are doing.
Especially in the 2-player, because you're kind of
you're
trying to get one or the other way. Either lots of corn or lots of beavers.
There is also, for the 2-player game, a landscape, I think it's called landscape tile. And if you are the first to make it to the 10th row in your ranch, then there is a bonus tile that you'll get to pick from, and it's just a square. So there's in a 5x10, there's one extra space in your ranch, and so it lets you fill that last space, and it gives you a circle for a partner to come in and do whatever ability you want them to do. So that does offer a race to try and build out vertically quickly. So that is one strategy. Also, this game offers, so we have only talked about the base variant, Moon River. There is also an entire nether variant, and what you'll do is called Legends of the West. You'll flip over your starting tile space, that's your reservation area, and all 4 of them are unique, and in that there are 4 different missions or scenarios that you can then play that will offer end game scoring for different things than just the base game. So there's one that's an outlaws, and you try and get a line of a gang, but you have to make sure that one of them is one of the criminal characters, so that it is an actual outlaw gang and not just all farm hands and that is helping out your farm. There is one that is a farm variant. I find this one the easiest because you're just building the farm tiles while there's fewer of them in the game compared to some of the other terrain types. It does offer a lot of extra points as far as possibly adding. A lot of the farms will have the partner circles on them, so it is easier. One of the harder ones, I think, is I think it's the woodcutter one. We played this one, and you're not guaranteed to even get a ton of forest spaces. You're trying to build a forest along the river, so everybody's starting board has a little river, and you have to have a forest touching that river, and you have to have at least 3 of them, and you'll get 10 points. I tried to make sure that I had the turn order right so that when one finally came up, I was able to get it, and then I took some really bad other tiles, and I didn't end up being able to mitigate my poor choices of tiles with the points so Will beat me by quite a bit in that one.
As per the usual.
Well, not usually.
As you can tell, she's very excited about it. I think she just ran through the entire additions to the entire game.
Oh, no, there's the gold one.
Oh, there's another one. Here we go.
You are building a vein of gold, so this one is a little bit easier in that there's lots of different terrain that have gold, so you can work your way through getting different types of terrain and scoring points with all of them. You'll score each gold vein of at least 3 is 10 points, and then each additional one in that same little path through your entire grid is 10 points extra. So that one can score you a lot more points. And it's easier to try and score regularly in that game as well. So
I'll be interested to find out if any of those things are true. I have a feeling they're probably all actually pretty balanced. There's probably the same number of gold tiles as there are ranches, but I could be totally wrong. Either way, it's going to give you lots and lots of options because the game is built so that you can replay it and try each one of those different goals every time you play the game. If you're a fan of Kingdomino, I'm very confident you'll enjoy this. It very much feels like Kingdomino. The turn order selection is exactly the same. Building out that grid of tiles is the same satisfying experience to puzzle piece it all together, and in fact, there are puzzle pieces in this version of the game, which is craziness. So you've got lots and lots of freedom, lots of choices, lots of opportunities, lots of fun. I really, really enjoy Moon River, and I'm looking forward to many more.
Yeah, I could see if you did not like any take that in a game, that this one may be a little bit harder for you to get to the table, just because there is a possibility for you to steal the cattle and to swap a tile with somebody else. It doesn't happen a ton in the game, and there are ways for you to prevent that from happening, but it is a possibility. So if you have players that really dislike that type of mechanic,
then remove the red tokens from the game.
You could use them on the other side if you didn't want to steal from other people. But for the most part, otherwise you're playing a very similar mechanic to Kingdomino. You're just offered more ability to really plan out exactly what you'd like your ranch to look like.
Yeah, if that sounds like something you would enjoy, be sure to check out Moon River from Blue Orange Games. We'll catch you guys in the next video.